Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud, and this is episode 20 of Final Reckoning. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? It's the final, um, but I don't know. I wasn't left feeling much. I was kind of annoyed, bewildered, confused, you know, and the sensational ending. And by sensational, that just means it made you feel something, whether that be good or bad. I was like, oh well, we've seen it before, but Sarah Rice didn't freak out like Hunter did, which is what Sarah should have done in the first place. But then, I don't know. Let's just break it down in this format. I just decided to just go team by team. And what happened? I have written down Cara and Marie get fourth place. They get drunk. They decide to heckle while drunk, and then they turn on each other, and it's really bad. It's a bad look. It's just it. I mean, it's the perfect example of their entire season together. Yeah, they get fourth place, and it's pretty obvious from the start that they're just not gonna get there. Marie isn't working very well. Cara Maria is not a great support at all. But again, that's how it's been the entire time. So, you know what? The thing about them getting drunk, though, I guess is pretty interesting because I remember Brandon. He got DQ'd right before running a elimination, and then so it's like, well, alcohol's not allowed on this sort of stuff, right? Then go to Bloodlines, Battle of the Bloodlines, and where Carmaria was at too. And they had to like jump on these contraptions, and then every time they'd miss, they'd have to chug a beer, but it was actually non-alcoholic beer. So you're like, oh, okay, well, it would have been better if they could just get drunk on these things, but they can't. So when Cara Maria and Marie get drunk, it's actually Cara who just kind of walks into the lodge right next to the standing overnight things, and she comes up with a bottle of wine for herself. I believe it's wine. And she's like, hey, there was 6 bottles in there. So in my mind and in her mind, we're just like, oh, that's for us. But I mean, who knows if producers were like, whoa, those bottles were for fucking us. Like, you guys are in a final right now. But they didn't stop Cara or anything. And she started to drink. Marie started to drink as well. But it was interesting. I was like, whoa. Like, since they weren't going to win anyways, I'm more I'll use the word again, sensational. A more sensational way for these people, Cara and Marie, to get out of the game, not by winning fourth, but by being DQ'd by alcohol. That'd be great, right? But didn't happen, and this they're gone, right? No more to talk about. No more need to talk about those two together. I've had way more Marie than I'd ever need in a lifetime. Cara Maria, like, ugh, God, she was annoying. But whatever. Hey, it's done. See you next season, Cara. Third place, Polly and Natalie. Natalie gets lost. Polly cuts a deal for the overnight thing, and then they go back on that word. Yeah, when Natalie is running, I'll defend her a little bit because these signs, they look like these long rectangles, right? And very subtly is it like an arrow, like the ends, they look like rectangles, right? But just a little bit, it looks like it's pointing in that direction, but very like a small little detail, right? Other than that, it just says the challenge or something like that, right? And it's at a fork in the road. Why didn't producers put shit right in the way? So you're like, oh, I have to go this way. But I guess it's not the producer's fault. Is it Natalie's fault? Is it Polly's fault because Polly ran so far ahead? I mean, that really fucking fucked him over in the end. But it was really annoying when she's running in the woods, and then they cut to like lions and in the African wilderness and stuff, and they even like insert audio of her like that about to get attacked by a lion or something like that. It was so annoying. It was so cheesy because no one ever gets attacked by animals on this fucking thing, even if they're in a pool of sharks or whatever. Like never. No, I'll take that back. I think it happened one time on Battle of the Sexes 2, someone got bit by a snake, I believe, like on the hand, but it was like a like a it wasn't even a cool snake, you know. No anacondas, pythons, you know, vipers, cobras, rattlesnake, none of that. It was like a little gardener snake or something like that. Yeah, Natalie gets lost. So the overnight thing, it was actually kind of brilliant. Like Polly gets some cool points in this, where he's like, "Oh man," because they're standing up there for 5 hours and they're just like, "This is gonna wreck our bodies tomorrow. You guys should jump off. Whoever jumps off, we will not give our grenades to." They both, Polly and Natalie, are like, "Hey, we swear to our families," and shit like that, right? So Joss and Sylvia, they take the bait, they jump, followed by Hunter and Ashley. Um, but later, they go out, you know, they go back on that decision because everyone has a grenade. It's not like if you win a checkpoint, you get a grenade and you get to throw it at someone. I mean, the grenades are bullshit enough. It should just be a clear cut run marathon sort of thing. You know, cross the finish line first. That means you win. But whatever, it's fine. So they use they go back on their word. They're like, "Sorry, Joss and Sylvia, you guys are the only ones in our way, preventing us from getting the $1 million." So they both go back on their word, and they only get third place. And that was the funniest thing, you know, like they sold their soul for third place. If you believe in that sort of thing, if you believe in a soul. Second place, Joss and Sylvia. This was crazy. You know, like they were doing so well, like definitely on an upswing during the season and stuff. And they're nice to each other. They're good. But a couple of flaws. They do agree to jump off the overnight thing. You know, they didn't have to. They could have, because they're relying on Polly and Natalie's word. I mean, come on, you have to know what show you're on, Joss and Sylvia. So they jump off. That sucks. And then they go on to receive 2 grenades. First by Hunter and Ashley during the eating thing, where they have to down those milkshakes, those fish milkshakes, and then by Natalie and Polly at the very end, before they have to walk over those hot coals. And then so they're given chains, and they have to, you know, out of 32 keys, pick these chains, and the chains walk across. And they end up getting second place overall, right? That sucks. The good guys. I wish they would have won. So first place goes to Ashley and Hunter. Okay, Hunter falls off the helicopter. They take the first shot in terms of using their grenades. They have to wait for 10 minutes during that final 3K run. And then ultimately Ashley takes the $1 million. Now, Hunter falls off the helicopter, right? That was a huge fall. And I was like, oh my God, he's fucked. He either broke his leg or broke a rib or something like that. No, he's actually fine. And then I was like, oh, he's DQ'd, or it fucks up him and Ashley's time. But no, when he falls down to the ground, it says Hunter's chopper climb down is stopped, or it's complete. It says it complete. Ashley, she keeps coming down. She gets to the bottom. It's complete, right? So let's just keep that in mind. And then later on, they take the first grenade shot, which was smart. They end up winning that eating contest. And then they have to wait those 10 minutes to get to the cave to walk over the coals. And that sucks because they get last place. And then somehow Ashley is awarded the winner out of the 2. Now, I had some huge problems about this. Okay, I guess let's talk about the fact that, I have no idea how she won this, right? Okay, so the first part was the helicopter climb. Hunter fell down, but his time was completed. So he actually did faster than Ashley, right? The second thing was the 4K run. Ashley did beat Hunter in that one. And then you go to the overnight thing. If you're counting who touched the ground first, that means they lost compared to their guy. So that person would get a point, you know. Ashley got on the ground first before Hunter did. You know, it was just easier because she was a tinier guy and Hunter's this huge dude, right? So she just kind of climbs down off of him and off of the contraption, right? So Hunter would get a point. What was the next thing? The eating thing? The fucking eating thing. They win, right? Who is known to be the faster eater out of those two between Hunter and Ashley, right? So who would be getting that point? They didn't exactly say, but you have to assume it would be Hunter. Um, and then what was the thing? Oh yeah, so they have to wait on the 3K 10 minutes to get into the cave to walk over the goddamn hot coals. You actually see now. Typically, the person in front who gets to the cave, who goes to the cave door, those are the ones that are getting the point of like, oh, you beat your partner. I don't know if Ashley just like got close to the cave, waited for Hunter, but Hunter actually got into the cave before Ashley did. So again, there's a point for Hunter. And then it's time for them to walk over the hot coals. Now it's not like Hunter and Ashley both get their own pathway. They actually have to share a pathway. Hunter goes first. How many times, how many points can you see Hunter getting all these points all these times, you know? But somehow it's given to Ashley. Now, and Ashley, she's like, well, I'm going to take all the money because you slut shamed me and you threatened my family and stuff like that. And it was nuts. I mean, we've already seen this happen with Bananas. Like, they even showed it on this episode. They're like, remember last time Bananas was an asshole? And Ashley takes the money. Hunter's hurt, of course. Why wouldn't you be? You know. And again, he responds. He actually does something. Whereas when Sarah Rice was robbed by Bananas, all she did was just sit there. She was just devastated. She said nothing, right? So, I mean, you could feel how you want to feel, like, oh yeah, good for you, girl. Like, don't be slut shamed and stuff like that. Like, but, and then she also said, like, he's been verbally abusive this whole season and stuff, which the back of, like, the maybe calling her a slut, yes, I could see that. And then like, oh, I'm coming after your own family, but your whole family. But if you take those out, I'm just saying, all right, let's just hear me out. You know, they're constantly arguing, but it's really just because she doesn't like what's going on, and he's like, why would you say that? What, you just say all this stuff, like, what the heck, stuff like that. And they just argue. That's fine. But you know, I guess what I'm getting at is that Ashley would have took the money regardless. You know, Ashley Mitchell showed up in our challenge lives with Corey because they were rivals, and she was like, oh, my family could buy your family and stuff, like, and she got kicked out. She's just this sensation, again, the word sensational. She's just a sensationalist. She's a provocateur. She just does shit that she knows is going to be good TV. She's basically like kind of Camilla, but slightly more charming, maybe. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. When I found out it was between the two of them and that it was Ashley that won it, it's like, why wouldn't she take it? Like, some cast members were saying that too. They were like, well, duh, of course she was going to take the $1 million, you know? But it's kind of bullshit reasons. I mean, she could have just said, like, I'm taking this, you know? But she really was like, he's been like verbally backhanding my face, bitch slapping my face with words, you know? And you know what, though? They're fucking exes. Ashley and Hunter are exes. If he slut shamed her, I'm not saying it's wrong. Or, I mean, I'm not saying she's wrong. And I'm not saying it's right or whatever. But, like, they're exes, you know? Like, I remember when he asked her, it was like, hey, I heard you did something with Kyle or something like that. And she's like, no, you're being crazy. And she walked away or something like that. She was like, no, it's not. And that started off the relationship pretty badly, you know. And again, yeah, they're exes. Like, they're not gonna get along. It's such a different dynamic than all these other people, you know. And then you know, add to the fact that they showed up in episode 7, at the very end of episode 7, and then because that was the, oh my god, they're here, cut, episode 8 shows up, they show up and win their way into the challenge house. So it's like they were gone almost a third. They got to avoid about a third of all these missions and shit. That's crazy. It's fucking nuts. So I don't know. The show left me in a weird space. I was like, Ashley couldn't have won that. Producers probably chose Hunter and Ashley out of Joss and Sylvia and Hunter and Ashley, because Joss and Sylvia, I'm pretty fucking sure they would have split it with each other, right? Those were decent human beings. It was very bizarre. They stood out quite a bit. I mean, they were boring because they were decent people. And that's not what producers want. They want assholes, you know? So they could have been like, we'll give it, because they were all within 2 minutes of each other. The top three, Natalie and Polly, Hunter and Ashley, and Joss and Sylvia. So they could have easily smudged those numbers. I didn't pay attention too much to see whether or not they won. I just remember thinking Ashley definitely didn't win out of her and Hunter. But anyways, between those two teams, Joss and Sylvia, Hunter and Ashley, you don't pick the guys that you know are going to split the money and like, oh, good triumphs over evil. No, this is Final Reckoning. This is MTV The Challenge. We're a bunch of fucking pricks. So they want crying. They want people to destroy each other's lives, sell each other down the river or whatever it's called, you know, sell their soul to the devil like Natalie and Polly did for third place, which no money was given. But then you give it to Hunter and Ashley because you know one of those two aren't going to split it because they do not get along, you know. They're exes, for fuck's sake. But then you smudge the numbers a little bit more and you're like, no, let Ashley take it because we know Ashley's going to do something. She's going to do something with this moment. And holy fuck did she do it. She took the money, dragged Hunter's name through the mud. He did it himself a little bit too. I mean, he threw a tantrum. But it's like, why wouldn't you throw a tantrum, you know? Yeah, I don't know. You know, we were supposed to see all these people tear each other apart because they have to. They were all given grenades. Let's go back real quick to Cara and Marie, and when Marie was like, I give Polly and Natalie our chains and locks, and Cara's like, oh, you fucking bitch. Fuck you. I hate you. Like, she was freaking out. You guys hooked up, like, once, or maybe it was a bunch. I don't know. Cara and Polly, and he has a girlfriend for fuck's sake. And I don't know. That was a lame moment because Marie's like, we give it to Polly and Natalie, and Cara's like, no, we don't. We don't agree. It's a dead grenade. And TJ's like, she's right. It's a dead grenade. We love you, Cara. Like, fucking producers bending over backwards for these stars of the challenge. The stars of the challenge have to continue to win these challenges or something. Like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know. The episode ended. The season ended. Apparently, the era ended. You know, the trilogy ended. What was it? It was called the Revenge Trilogy or something like that. Dirty 30, Vendettas, and now Final Reckoning. But it's nothing we haven't seen before. You know, it really isn't. Like, what was the most talked about part? Ashley keeping the money. We've seen that before, too, with Bananas. So, I don't know. It's done. It's all done. And now Ashley's the richest challenger we've ever had. You know, she dethroned Bananas, who was sitting at, like, I want to say, 600,000? I knew this once, but I forgot. But now Ashley's on the top with, like, 100... or 121,000. So I don't know, but she's fucking up there, and we probably won't see her dethroned in terms of money made until the next season, maybe, and maybe not, because she would that winner would have to have a little bit more money to topple her over. But yeah, that was the end. You know, usually I give an award after all this stuff, and I couldn't think of a single person to give it to. You know, I usually give like best, and you know, like best male challenger, best supporting male challenger, best female challenger, best supporting female challenger, and really I don't know. I don't want to think about it. Like, I wanted to make this video because I have to go to Thanksgiving dinner and stuff with the family. So I am just going to maybe do an award show later. Maybe I'll watch the reunion and judge from there. I don't know. But that was the end. That was the end of all this stuff. So subscribe, comment. This was Battle of the Challengers podcast with Vincent Cloud.